Hello nerds, Bill here from the NerdNest, and we've got confirmation from videocards.com. They just confirmed the Legion Go S. In fact, I guess we shouldn't call it just the Legion Go S because we should be calling this the Legion Go series, as Video Cards is also confirming there are not one, not two, but three gaming systems coming from Lenovo, all slated to be announced at CES in just 2 weeks. And now we have lots of details about these devices. As always, during the video, I'll be showing off B-roll from some indie games. If something jumps out at you as, holy cow, that game looks really cool, be sure to add it to your wish list. In fact, it might even be on sale right now, as we currently have the Steam Winter Sale, which is going through January 2nd. And if you have some suggested indie games that you think they need some love or more exposure, leave it in the comments down below that like button, and I may add them in a future video. Okay, back to the leaks. I do want to point out that we did just sit down and record the latest episode of the NerdNest podcast, and we talked extensively about what Lenovo and AMD have cooking up at CES in 2 weeks. It was a really great discussion, and it has a few details that I'm not going to go in here, but I will leave a link down below so that you can check it out after you watch this. I'm a huge fan of the Lenovo Legion Go. Anytime that I want to use a Windows device, like if I'm playing a game whose DRM or anti-cheat won't work on the Steam Deck or on my ROG Ally, which I have Bazzite installed on because it's not compatible with Linux, then the Legion Go is the device that I reach for. Same if I want to play a game on Game Pass. If I want to play a handheld Game Pass game, the Legion Go is the thing that I reach for. It's got a huge 8.8-inch screen. It makes using Windows so much easier, and I am a big fan of it. But it isn't perfect. Lenovo has been pretty bad about updating the drivers for it, but hopefully with the existence of a SteamOS version from Lenovo, we won't have to worry about that as much. Of course, that remains to be seen. You know, like Liam Neeson in Taken. You never see him coming. Oh, nice shot, dude. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Hello? Hello?
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want.
What?
You're looking for ransom. I can tell you, I don't have money.
Ransom?
But what I do have here are a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
What do you mean people like me?
If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will.
You will what? Hello? What? Hello? Oh, my phone's dead. I need to charge it. This is the Ugreen MagFlow Qi 2 2-in-1 wireless charger. It's a Qi 2 certified 15-watt charger for your phone. It can charge your iPhone 16 from 0% all the way up to 37% in just 30 minutes. It's quick, it's efficient, it's wireless charging in a small package. It's compatible with all iPhones after Series 12, and it can also charge your AirPods simultaneously, which gets rid of extra cables and helps keep your desk neat and organized. It's foldable, and it fits easily into your backpack, and it weighs just 8.3 ounces, which makes it ideal for travel. And you can even adjust the viewing angle up to 70 degrees so you can use your phone vertically or horizontally while charging. You can even watch videos while your phone is charging hands-free. Perhaps even watch NerdNest videos. So check out more Ugreen Qi 2 products in the description down below, and a huge thank you to Ugreen for being a long-term sponsor right here in the NerdNest. Okay, so we've got three devices: the Legion Go S, the Legion Go S Steam Edition, and the Legion Go 2. I will point out that none of these are actual official names yet, but I think it's pretty safe to say that this is what they're going to be called. Let's start off with the Legion Go S, which comes in two varieties, the Windows Edition and then the Steam Edition. The big difference between them is the color and what operating system is installed on them. On the previously mentioned podcast, we speculated that the black one would be the Steam model. It looks like we were right about that, although that wasn't that much of a reach, as the leaks for the black model are the ones that had the Steam buttons and the quick access menu buttons, which lines up perfectly with Valve's new requirements that they put into their new branding guidelines. If you see the Powered by SteamOS logo on a box, which I'm sure will be on the black Legion Go S, it means that the Powered by SteamOS logo indicates that a hardware device will run the SteamOS and boot into SteamOS upon powering on the device. We talked a little bit in the podcast about whether or not dual boot would be an option, and it looks like that's not going to be the case. And the reason that it's not going to be the case is for a couple of different reasons. Number one, support. If you have dual boot, then you're going to have people who don't understand how dual boot works. They'll make a bunch of mistakes. They will then end up calling Lenovo and complaining about it. And it's just easier for Lenovo to just lock people into one operating system. And of course, you can install whatever operating system you want on it. But it ships with SteamOS, then it's going to be just SteamOS. If it ships with Windows, then it'll be just Windows. And if you replace that operating system with the one that you prefer, well, that's not really Lenovo's problem, and then they don't have to support you anymore. So I understand why they're avoiding dual boot. The other reason that I think that they're avoiding dual boot is because Valve doesn't have the dual boot stuff ready for SteamOS yet. They've said that they were going to, they're working on it, but it's going to take quite a while, and so I can understand why we don't have that at this point. We also have confirmation that these devices will come with a new APU. It's called the Ryzen Z2 Go APU, and that this might be a custom chip that is exclusive to the Legion Go systems, hence the inclusion of Go in the name of the APU. This doesn't necessarily mean that it's really a new chip. For example, the Z1 Extreme chip that is in most Windows-based handheld PCs like the ROG Ally, the ROG Ally X, the Lenovo Legion Go, it's really just a 7840U chipset with a few of the AI cores turned off. So it's not really custom, not like Valve's custom Van Gogh chipset, which is also made by AMD. The Z2 Go APU is rumored to have a Radeon 800M graphics GPU. It will be Zen 3 with RDNA 2 graphics, which puts it in line with the AMD Rembrandt APU. Lenovo says this about their new APU. Exhilarating speed and performance. The Lenovo Legion Go S boasts AMD's exclusive Z2 Go processor and Zen 3 architecture, offering ultra-responsive gameplay powered by 4 CPU cores and 8 threads. Enjoy 1080p gaming fueled by AMD Radeon 800M graphics, built on AMD RDNA 2 architecture, which transforms your game's visuals and cutting-edge technologies like Radeon Super Resolution, Fidelity FX, Super Resolution, and AFMF. If you're unfamiliar, FSR is basically AMD's upscaling tech, where it runs games at lower resolutions and then upscales them in order to make them look like they're running at higher resolutions. And then AFMF is Advanced Fluid Motion Frames, which essentially makes up frames in order to increase your frame rate. I have used it a couple of times and I've been very disappointed by AFMF. That being said, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be bad, and perhaps there's something in this APU that will make the fluid motion frames actually work better. In the past, when I've done it, it works really good until you do a quick turn and then your frames tank. And if you don't have a stable frame rate, I don't really care how high a frame rate gets. It's just bad. A stable frame rate is much more important than having high spikes in frame rates. We also have a few new images to see here, which I will throw on the video. One of them really shows off the top of the device, which has 2 USB 4 ports, which is similar to the original Legion Go. On the original Legion Go, it had one on the top and one on the bottom. Now it looks like it's got 2 on the top, and that's it. They also show that we won't have detachable controllers, but if you love the Joy-Con-like controllers from the OG Legion Go, don't worry, there is a device for you as well. I'll talk about that later on in the video. I have to say, I absolutely love the look of this device. It seems small and compact, although maybe not too small when we talk about the screen size in just a minute. And it might be perfect for people who wanted a slightly smaller Steam Deck, although we will have to wait and see how the Z2 Go APU handles performance at both low TDP and high TDP wattages. Let's take a look at the rest of the specs, starting with the display, which is an 8-inch display. It comes in at 1920 by 1200, so that's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio with up to 500 nits of brightness and a 120 hertz refresh rate. There are 2 storage options. Something else that we talked about on the podcast. There's a 512 gig option and a 1 terabyte option. There are also 2 memory options, 16 gigabytes and up to 32 gigabytes of LPPDDR5X RAM. And the battery comes in at 55.5 watt hours, which is a little disappointing. With that 8-inch screen, you would think that they would have room in there for an 80 watt hour battery like we have in the ROG Ally X. The rumored price of this is around $600, which is higher than we talked about on the podcast. It's higher than I was expecting for a device like this, and that could be a mistake. The Legion Go S in Glacier White is the one that's going to be running Windows 11, and then the black one will be the one that's powered by SteamOS. Everything else seems to be the same. The only difference is the operating system. Let's take a look at the Legion Go 2, which is the updated version of the original Legion Go. One thing that I will point out is that the bottom of the Legion Go 2 looks way thinner than the top, and it might be what they're doing in order to reduce the weight of the device, which is something that a lot of people complained about. I felt like it didn't feel heavy because it was so big, but a lot of people wanted it to be lighter. So maybe it will be lighter. Only time will tell. On the Legion Go 2, it's got another new chip from AMD, which isn't a huge surprise since at the panel it's that they're having at CES in January is called Lenovo Cross AMD, the future of handheld gaming. Again, just to remind everybody, we'll also have Pierre-Luc Graffet, who works at Valve, and then we'll have Microsoft's head of next gen. So it should be a really interesting panel we can look forward to next month. The new AMD chip is Zen 5 with RDNA 3.5, and it's called a Ryzen Z2 Extreme with 8 cores. The system on a chip GPU is a Radeon 890M, which powers the massive 8.8-inch display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. This is pretty much the same as last time, but now it is supposedly OLED. One thing that is not on these spec sheets here that we're looking at is what is the refresh rate of this device. The one difference that people were constantly harping on between the ROG Ally and the Lenovo Legion Go is that the ROG Ally had a VRR display. I'm assuming that this one won't be a VRR display because it's pretty tough to get an OLED display that's also VRR, especially at that 8.8-inch size. The original Legion Go had a 165 Hz display, which was really great, but I never really ran games at that high of a refresh rate. So I hope that they drop it down to 120 and save a little bit of cost that way. The Legion Go 2 also comes with Windows 11, and there's currently no information on whether or not we'll see a SteamOS version of the Legion Go 2. I really hope that we do, but if we don't, you can always install Bazzite. It works really well, and I'm a big fan of it. They also don't have any information on the price of the Legion Go 2, but the Legion Go was originally around $749. I can't see them pushing it too much higher than that, even with these upgrades. So I'm thinking maybe a highest price of $850, but even then, $850 for a handheld PC is a really tough sell, especially when you have to factor in the tax. But what do you think about these devices? Let me know in the comment section down below, that like button. And before you jet on out of here, check out this video right here. YouTube seems to think it's perfect for you. From the Nerd Nest, I'm Bill. Stay rad, and thanks for watching.